The 2026 World Cup final is already different before a ball is kicked, because the tournament around it is different. For the first time, the event expands to 48 teams. That sounds like a format detail, but it changes the emotional weight of the final. More countries means more routes, more travel, more fan bases, and a longer story before the last match. The final will not just feel like the end of one bracket. It will feel like the end of the biggest version of the tournament ever staged. And that matters, because finals are partly about scale. The bigger the road, the heavier the last step feels. This video is not predicting who gets there. Nobody honestly knows that yet. Instead, we are looking at 10 curiosities that make the 2026 final unusual: the host context, the psychology, the travel, the memory, and the way a single match becomes a global reference point. Use only generic images in your head: stadium lights, neutral flags, city streets, training grounds, crowds, and a football rolling under bright lights. No official logos are needed. The story is big enough without them. Curiosity 1 is the expanded field. Curiosity 2 is that the final will carry the pressure of a bigger, noisier, more international month. More teams do not only mean more games. They mean more possible Cinderella stories, more exhausted favorites, and more fans who feel like the final belongs to them, even if their team is already home. Curiosity 3 is geography. The 2026 tournament is spread across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, which makes the final feel like the last stop of a continental journey. Fans may experience the tournament through airports, trains, highways, hotel lobbies, public squares, and watch parties thousands of miles apart. That changes the atmosphere. A final is always one game in one stadium, but in 2026 the road to that stadium stretches across an enormous map. Curiosity 4 is rhythm. Players in a World Cup final are not just carrying 90 minutes. They are carrying weeks of travel, recovery, tactical changes, media attention, and national expectation. By the time the final arrives, the body is tired, but the mind is even louder. That is why finals often feel slower and sharper at the same time. Every pass seems heavier. Every mistake looks bigger. Curiosity 5 is that neutral details become iconic. A tunnel. A warm-up. A camera shot of fans waiting. A ball on the grass. A city skyline before kickoff. Years later, people remember these fragments as if they were part of the match itself. The 2026 final will create those images too, even before anyone scores. That is the strange power of finals: the surroundings become memory. The match is the center, but the ceremony, the waiting, and the collective tension become part of the story. Curiosity 6 is pressure. Finals do not break players because they forget how to play. They break players because the same skill suddenly has a different meaning. A simple pass is no longer simple when millions of people are watching, and a mistake can become history. Psychologists call this choking under pressure, but that phrase sounds too casual. What really happens is attention moves from automatic skill to conscious control. A player who has practiced a movement thousands of times may suddenly start monitoring it. Where is my foot? How hard is the touch? What if I miss? The brain tries to help, but sometimes it interrupts the machine. Curiosity 7 is time distortion. In finals, the clock behaves weirdly. If your team is winning, 10 minutes can feel like an hour. If your team is losing, an hour can feel like 10 minutes. The scoreboard changes how people experience time. That is why stoppage time in a final feels almost supernatural. It is not just extra minutes. It is a public argument with the clock. Curiosity 8 is silence. Huge stadiums can become quiet for 1 second after a near miss, a penalty decision, or a dangerous counterattack. That tiny silence is part of the drama. The crowd does not plan it. It happens because thousands of brains freeze at once. Curiosity 9 is memory. Everyone thinks they remember finals clearly, but most people remember the story more than the sequence. Ask a group of fans about a famous final and they will often disagree about when the momentum changed, who looked tired, or how obvious the ending felt. That is because memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. After the result is known, the brain rewrites earlier moments to make the ending feel inevitable. If a team wins, their nervous first half becomes patience. If a team loses, the same first half becomes a warning sign. This is hindsight bias wearing a football shirt. The 2026 final will be remembered the same way. People will say they saw it coming. Some will believe the signs were obvious. But during the match, almost nothing will feel obvious. Curiosity 10 is that finals create shared myths faster than normal games. A save becomes heroic. A miss becomes tragic. A substitution becomes genius or disaster. The internet accelerates that process within minutes. Clips, reactions, headlines, and fan edits will turn the match into a simplified story before the players have even left the pitch. That does not make the story fake. It means a final is both a sporting event and a memory factory. There is one more reason the 2026 final feels different: it will happen in a media environment where everyone is watching together, but not in the same way. Some people will watch the full match. Some will see highlights. Some will follow live statistics. Some will only experience the final through reactions, memes, and short videos. That fragments the final into many versions. The person in the stadium, the person at a watch party, and the person scrolling through clips may all feel like they saw the same event, but they actually absorbed different pieces of it. That is new pressure for the match itself. The final has to survive as sport, spectacle, data, and memory all at once. This is why the safest prediction is not about the winner. It is about the feeling. The 2026 World Cup final will feel massive because the road is bigger, the map is wider, the audience is more fragmented, and the memory machine is faster than ever. The official details will matter, of course, but the human details will matter too: the walk onto the grass, the first nervous touch, the fans holding their breath, the player trying to stay calm, and the moment when one ordinary action becomes permanent. That is what makes finals different. Not magic. Pressure, memory, scale, and timing all arriving in the same place.